At this point, I kind of expect Apple to break something with every major iOS update. And yeah, they did. First beta was borderline unreadable, transparency overkill, contrast issues, a UI that felt like it was melting. But now with this update, it's like they dialed it back, figured some things out. Still not perfect, but at least now I can tell what I'm tapping on. Initially, I wasn't expecting much from this update, just figured I'd poke around, see what's new. But then I started noticing all these quiet changes, visual stuff, touch stuff, that sense of, oh, this is trying to be something else now, not just more of the same. Not sure if it's all good, but it's definitely interesting. I wanted to see how iOS 26 actually feels, not on the new hardware, but on something a little older, like iPhone 11, 12, 13, or 14. Phones most people are still using every day. No verdicts yet. This isn't the final version. We've got time till September, but I've been living with it. And yeah, there's stuff worth talking about. First thing I noticed, the Photos app doesn't feel like a disaster anymore. It's not that mess of tabs and random folders from before. They cleaned it up. It's simpler now. Less noise, more intention. And the whole thing leans into this liquid glass design language, which I know sounds like a marketing term, but it's actually pretty sick. It has this almost physical quality, like the interface is catching light in real time. It doesn't just look good, it feels like they studied how reflection should work and just committed to that. Google's still ahead when it comes to haptics and responsiveness. Material You feels alive because it moves with you, but iOS 26 is chasing a different vibe. It's optical, more about texture and light and illusion. It looks amazing in motion. The clear glass theme especially, it's subtle, kind of soft, but it makes your phone feel fresh, like it's something new again. And yeah, you can switch between light and dark mode as usual. But what I like is not just a theme, it shifts how the whole system feels. I have seen people loving it, hating it, and that's fair. But I believe if an update can make your old phone feel kind of new again, even for a bit, that's a win in my book. Icons got tweaked too. If you caught the WWDC 2025, you already know they have tweaked the designs. There's this soft border, like a glow or halo around them. The camera icon's new. And finally, you can actually see things in the control center again. The first beta had icons bleeding into the background. It had contrast issues. Now, clean. Still transparent, but actually legible. Even stuff like text selection in Notes, they have made it better. The cursor's chunkier. You get this magnified glass bubble. It feels more deliberate, more readable. Lock screen customization's gotten better too. Frosted fonts, new clock styles, and that depth effect, they have nailed it. The way it pushes the time behind your wallpaper subject, it just works. Doesn't feel stitched on or awkward. We have seen similar tricks on Android, but this implementation feels tighter. Control Center's icons are lighter now, and the background blur isn't as transparent. Makes everything easier to read without killing the vibe. And folders now have that frosted look too, which I actually like. It makes them feel part of the new system instead of leftovers from the old one. Still no haptic feedback on the sliders though. That tiny vibration when you adjust volume or brightness, it just makes the interaction feel real. Like there's resistance. Wait. Instead, you only get a small tap at the end when you max it out. And the slider does this subtle squish, almost like a rubber band snapping back. It's a neat visual, but it feels a bit empty without that tactile click. Anyway, wallpapers. I know that sounds minor, but they have added a few that match the aesthetic really well. You got shadow, sky, halo, and dusk. They are not overly stylized. It's more like mood lighting for your lock screen. Soft gradients, kind of atmospheric, like they were designed to glow behind translucent UI instead of opposing it. Widgets and lock screen tweaks are all still here. Same flexibility as recent versions. Settings got some visual cleanup too. Sliders are thinner, paired with these small button caps. Sounds like nothing, but it's good to see the refresh. Same settings, but just breathable layout. Okay, camera app. This one caught me off guard. They rearranged some of the modes, and the swipe to cycle setup takes some retraining. It's not bad, but the way portrait mode is kind of buried now, that felt clunky. I stood there for a second like, wait, did they remove it? Turns out, no, it's just hiding behind a hold and swipe. Once you get used to it, the interface is actually cleaner. Fewer buttons jammed into the viewfinder. But yeah, initial reaction was confusion. Visually though, the camera UI feels nice, and it's finally legible in both dark and light modes, even with the glass UI bleeding into the background. That wasn't always the case in earlier betas. Now, performance. It's not bad, until it is. Most of the time it runs fine. That said, when it breaks, it really breaks. I have had the camera lock up from the lock screen. Just straight black screen, had to force restart. Not ideal. And every now and then, you get these little stutters when switching between apps or just swiping through menus. It's not consistent, which somehow makes it more annoying. Like it's buttery smooth for an hour, then suddenly freeze for a half a second when you're opening an app, just enough to snap you out of the flow. Battery? Let's talk about that. It's better than earlier betas, but still pretty bad. I'm talking like 15 to 20% faster drain than usual, and that's with normal use. Nothing heavy. It feels like the OS is chewing through it, just trying to keep all this glass and blur and polish running. And it's not just passive drain, it's heat too. It's improved, yes, but the phone still gets noticeably warm, like the OS is working harder than it should, almost like it's still figuring out how to handle itself. At the end of the day, it's clearly not ready for prime time. This isn't something I'd recommend installing if you don't want to deal with weird bugs or battery anxiety, and I'll probably roll back soon, just to save myself the headache. But even with all that, there's something about it. It's the first time in a while that iOS feels like it's experimenting again, not just catching up to Android or rebranding old stuff. It's trying to feel different, look different, respond different. There's an ambition here that you can sense, even if it breaks or skips a few things along the way. And I don't know, that kind of risk, that kind of design commitment, I respect it, even if I have to uninstall it tomorrow. My name is Mubashir Hamid, you're watching Honestic, and I'll see you in the next video.